Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today we're talking about hooks. And I'm going to share with you some information that I have learned while working for the industry. And a big part of my job was actually hooks. Okay? Now, obviously, there are different types of hooks. And what we're focusing on today would be specifically for jigging. Okay, we'll touch up on fast jigging hooks and slow jigging hooks. If you plan to make your own assist hooks, watch this video first and then go out shopping, because there are some information, there's actually quite a lot of information that would be very useful for you in this video. Before that, if you're just joining us, thank you very much for clicking this video. I'm pretty sure that you're interested in what this video is all about. But before that, let me tell you that there's a lot of videos of this type in the channel. So if you want to check that out, go right ahead. I've made playlists, and this one would be included in the jigging specific playlist. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And for those of you that have already subscribed, thank you very much for the support. Keeps me going and keeps me inspired to actually make more of these videos. Now, also, if you like the video, please consider liking it. Give me a thumbs up. It really helps. What that does is actually show this video to more people that might need it. And that's very important because of the YouTube algorithm. I just found out that that's basically how this thing works. So the more people actually watch, subscribe, click like, and share, the more the word of what we're trying to do here goes out to the people that might need them. Also, if you're new to the channel, this channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing, and we cover everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. And today, as I mentioned earlier, we're talking about jigging hooks specifically. This is not exhaustive, okay? There are hundreds, probably even thousands of jigging hooks out there. Usually when you go to the tackle shop, you'll see a selection, and sometimes you kind of don't know what to pick. I knew I had that when I went to Japan. And I wish I knew this information, so I'm sharing it with you guys, okay? Now, there are specific jigging hooks, and most of these hooks are actually for a purpose. Now, when you are shopping, so this one is probably very easy to say, exactly what it is, okay? It says Dokan, okay? Dokan is actually Storm's brand of snapper balls, and these hooks are specifically made for them. So sometimes it's as straightforward as that, okay? You see that? Chino, Dokan, even there, you say Dokan, okay? See it? After that, you'll know that as you're just browsing, could be that in the same shop they will have those snapper balls, and you would say like, hey, look at that, it's the same name, maybe it's used for that specifically, and it is. Now, I'll tell you exactly why these hooks are special later on. We'll cover that, okay? Now, Owner also has this flash twin assist, and it is for slow jigging. Now, here's a very good example, okay, why it is that, and you could tell exactly if it's for slow jigging. Now, this is from VMC. It is a fast jigging assist hook assembly. So you could see there, one cord, one hook. Let me take one here that I have made so that you can see it as an example. If I can find it. So much for readiness there. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's also take a hook here that is specifically for fast jigging. There we go. Use that as an example later on. So that's weird. I don't have. Okay, there we go. So this particular one right here, as you can see, it's all tied in one continuous string, and there's a reason for that. If you put it on a hook or on a jig, this is a slow jig, okay? If you put these assist hooks here, they're all on one side. If you put something like this, okay, they go like that. They go on one side each. Sometimes you could argue that you could just put them on the side just like that. However, the reason why they're in opposing sides is because slow jigs are mostly asymmetrical. So there's a heavy side and there's a flat side. You put the assist hooks, slow assist hooks on the flat side, and then it will have more chances of actually hooking up on either side. That's one. And two, if one hooks up, the other more than likely would snag it. If you have two assist hooks on each end, the chance of the other hook snagging the fish, aside from the one that's already in its mouth, is quite high. On a symmetrical jig, like a fast jig, you want either one hook or two hooks on each side that hang out, and then the likelihood of one getting bit is high, but the other more than likely will not snag the fish. And that's the biggest difference there. Now, there's also a physical difference between a slow jigging hook and a fast jigging hook. I know that these are almost about the same size, but you could see that for a fast jigging hook, it's actually thick, whereas for a slow jigging hook, it's actually quite thin. Okay, so immediately you could tell that this one is a fast jigging hook and this one as well. They're actually quite thick for slow jigging. Now the reason being is that when you're slow jigging, your lines are mostly thin. Normal size for my slow jigging setup for line size is PE2. Now with PE2, you don't really have a lot of physical strength to get a really thick hook into a fish's mouth. Now remember that when you are fast jigging, you're already doing the hooking motion. Whereas for slow jigging, you're moving your rod really slow. And what you want is for these thin hooks to actually bite, to hook the fish as it bites. When it shakes, all the other points to hit the fish. If you have something thick there, the penetration would be lower. So as you can see, slow jigging hooks are, for their size, quite thin. They use thinner wire. Okay, so let's put that aside. Now, another difference that I want you to look at, okay, these two right here, actually these three, okay, add this one, okay. Each of these are different sizes. As you can see, 5 and 7 quite close. Actually, if you put it together, they could be pretty close, if not the same. Now, even from the same manufacturer, you'll see that this has a bigger gap or gape than this one. It could be because they have a different shape to them, but this is physically a bigger hook than this one. But this is made out of, the wire is actually kind of made the same. This is just a tad thicker, but this is for light and this is for medium jigging. Now, go to this brand and you can see that even if it's the same size as that, it's just a 1.0. Now, what does this tell you? It basically tells you that even if the numbers are the same, the numbering system, which is 7.0 or 7 oblique, 5 oblique, 1 oblique, okay? Look at that. That's a 1 oblique. This is also a 1 oblique. Very big difference. There's actually no standardization as far as hook sizes are concerned in the fishing world. So, one company's 7.0 could be the other's 1.0. And this shows that blatantly. Okay, so we talked about the wire, the thickness of a fast jigging hook, the thinness of a slow jigging hook. What I want to talk about now is the coating. Okay, the coating is very, very important. Now, the coating of this and this is the same. This is a very good example right here. It says PTFE. Okay, whereas all of these other guys are just uncoated. Well, they have some sort of coating for anti-rust. This black hook right here, it is black nickel. But this PTFE is actually very, very, very cool as a material. Okay, now this one has PTFE coating, but it's a small hook. So these guys are in the same category. You could use them on light jigging and they work really well. But PTFE is very unique. Okay, it's also very scary. Now, if you haven't used hooks that are have PTFE, I can actually tell you they're really, really good. They have a drawback, but we'll talk about that later on. Now, these hooks, when you touch them, they feel like they have oil, an oil coating. It's very, very slick. What that tells you is that while you're fishing this, when the fish actually grabs it, there's very, very little resistance and it just goes in. It slides in actually. That would be the perfect term for this. Whereas for other hooks, such as these, it takes more resistance. This has very little resistance as it goes in. Okay? Very, very important when you're fishing deep. Very, very important when you're fishing light line. Okay, so VMC used to have, as you can see there, coating, PTFE. This one has as well. VMC used to have these for their slow jigging hooks. It was kind of a bit too early, and after a few years, they kind of discontinued. Well, they not kind of, they discontinued it, which was such a shame. Now, granted that the very big disadvantage for PTFE is that it actually fades and it gets rusty. After a few uses, it gets rusty. So it doesn't really make a lot of economical sense for that type of coating that they had here. Now the newer ones, I think, especially this one, lasts a heck of a lot longer. For owner, I can say that it lasts quite a long time as well. So if you see hooks like these and you hold it, okay, and it feels slick, it has PTFE coating on it. This is for light jigging, but I really wish they had like a version of this one right here that had PTFE coating, and that would be really cool. Maybe I should talk to owner. But these hooks were a really, really good idea. And yeah, I'm looking forward to some manufacturers actually picking the idea up and running with it. And if they can make a longer lasting PTFE coating, it'd be great. Now, that was the only disadvantage. Of course, a lot of people didn't really pick up on this earlier on, and it's the reason why it was discontinued. It was also only available in 3 sizes, whereas owner actually has the smaller sizes. VMC had the bigger size for slow jigging. Okay, so these hooks are for slow jigging. This is one of my favorites right here. It's the 7117 AH. Yeah, and it's really such a shame that they discontinued this, because especially when you're fishing in very difficult conditions wherein the fish would actually just swim up to the jig and just inhale it and not run. The hook actually penetrates and you don't need to set the hook. And that's a very, very big advantage, especially when you're fishing in a day where it is just so difficult to hook the fish. So this gives you a lot of edge. Okay, so PTFE coating right there. Now, these are hooks that I have been using lately. They're quite good. These are the Gamakatsu. What's the model here? Barbless, okay, jigging hook. And they're barbless. Now, the reason why I went for this is because of this having no barb, it goes in almost like how a PTFE coated hook just slides in. Now, if you don't know, barbs were actually created not to hold fish but to hold bait in. So as long as you actually keep your line tight, this will hold the fish. Okay, so a really good hook for that. And this is how I rig it, by the way. So I'm showing you guys, full disclosure right there. Okay, I'm probably going to make a video of how I made these specifically, but just a note, if you want to make your own, okay, and these hooks are really perfect for this jig. Now, full disclosure, okay, the one at the back is actually longer than the one up front. They don't meet and they won't hook each other. Okay, so there are a lot of types of hooks. Now, what if you're in a place where you can't buy these hooks? You got your back, guys. Okay, there are still some areas in the world that have a hard time getting a supply of assist hooks. or hooks specifically for jigging, especially slow jig. If you can find these hooks, they're actually quite thin for what they are. Okay, so it's the Aki and the fly liner live bait. The fly liner live bait has the same wire size as this Aki. Obviously, I have a 6.0 and a 4.0 here. This one has, oh, actually, both of them have cutting points. I don't really like cutting points on assist hook assemblies because once that cutting point actually enters, because of the edges, kind of makes the hole bigger. Okay, but if you don't have anything to work with, something like this would work. Okay, however, since you'll see that this is kind of like an O'Shaughnessy shape, what you need to do is make your assist cords shorter and make it fit the jig. The advantage of this, which by the way, again, I used to use these in the early days because I couldn't find proper jigging hooks here. They work really well. The biggest advantage this one has is that because of the shorter assist cord, guess what? This kind of protects you from getting bitten off because these are short shank, and if the fish actually grabs it like that and the cord is getting in contact with the teeth of, let's say, a barracuda or a Spanish mackerel, it will cut it off. But this will help you land that fish. And I still use them from time to time these days. They work. Okay? Again, if you're not able to get proper slow jigging hooks such as these can work. You just have to watch the gape. If you find one that has a relatively good gape, you can actually use them for both slow and fast jigging. But just mind the construction, of course, as I mentioned earlier, guys. For fast jigging hooks, okay, and for slow jigging, it'd be like that. Okay, I think I mentioned the reason why. All right, so that's it for the hooks. All right, again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'm pretty sure I didn't cover everything, and if ever I missed anything that you would like to add on, please comment below and let's start a discussion. All right, so that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video.